Jimenez, 24 years old, 5'11", weighed in at 198.6 pounds. It's Jimenez versus Duarte in the main event of Who's Number 125. Here we go. Fight!
Yeah, I think Kaynan is really like, I think this is the best version we've ever seen him. I think he's going to keep getting better. But as I mentioned, Jimenez, I believe he's going to try to find the back movement to get around the back. And Kaynan is very good here. He sets up this headquarters position. He's very, very good here. See, you'll watch as he steps over, stays over that leg, puts pressure, and then he'll get his right hand towards the hip. Once he feels comfortable, he'll start drifting that right hand up towards the hip. And once it gets up there, is that now that battle up, that right forearm will kill the hip, the hand will go to the hip. We've seen him go to the mount here, push the knee through. He's just very solid in this position.
Yeah, Kaynan said that he's even better than when he was competing at ADCC. He said he's a new and improved Kaynan. You know, and talking to Kaynan and booking matches, he's really made it apparent to me that he wants to take matches seriously. He wants to have a right camp. He wants to have proper time to you know, prepare for all of his matches from now on. And I think that was something that maybe led to a couple of his losses in his career previously. Maybe he underestimated some of his opponents that led to losses. But this year, we've seen Kaynan 3.0, I like to say, because this is a whole other level of Kaynan. And, you know, you look at Roberto. Roberto says he's coming into this match. He's got a strategy, but he's ready to improvise on the fly against Kaynan. You know, Kaynan is a very, very strong, methodical and you know, grappler, and once he gets that motion going, it's like a steamroller. It just kind of slowly progresses, and eventually he gets to the winning positions. If Roberto can make space and maybe try to get up, he's got to watch his neck, because Kaynan's got those guillotines that he showed at ADCC. Man, who else in the world can say they submitted Cyborg twice in the same weekend with guillotines? Kaynan can.
Yeah, and also this position, he's just resetting it over and over and over and over and over and over. And you'll see when Kaynan enters into this headquarters position, one thing that I really like that he does, he keeps his hips square. Right now they're a little turned, but his head is offset. But when you watch his hips, they're square. So when he gets that left hip a little higher, he sprawls his left leg back, so it has an illusion that he's side on, but he's not. His hip is square in. See how it squares up? And then what that does is you can only lift him up like that. You can't lift him out. When you come in and you have a square hip, square hips are heavy hips, and then that hook can't move him sideways, can only move him up and down. And he can easily reset the position over and over and over, and you're carrying his weight again and again until he gets around your knees. And we'll just see him most likely just work in this position until he gets over the knee. He's very, very good here. He's figured this position out. He'll punch that. You see that right arm working, so he'll go from throat to hip if he feels like he wants to start passing around or through, because that right arm wants to punch that underhook on that right above the hip on the right side, and that'll start letting him move through the guard. So the hand on the neck or the shoulder keeps Roberto flat. The underhook starts to move him through. We saw him earlier just like try to push the knee to the mount. He did that very well on Declan Moody in the ADCC, amongst a few others, but he just pushes that knee down. He puts pressure, then he relieves pressure and shoves the knee down, and all of a sudden he's like nearly mounted. So there you go. He's moving in. It's an exhausting battle. If you're on the bottom, you just have to keep carrying this person's weight over and over.
And this is not good for Roberto, right? This is not allowing him to, as you said, like, you know, the path to victory for Roberto is potentially to the back. It's going to be very hard to get to the back in these positions. Kaynan knows that. He's shutting down all access to the back. As you said, using that headquarters passing game just to smush Roberto's guard. And that's going to pay dividends when it starts to get later in the match. Yeah. Roberto's core is going to be just burned.
There he's in. He got that left underhook. He got around the knee, and he's in. And this is where if he stays, Roberto was able to clear him out. And that's Roberto is very good, is an athlete, very strong, so he cleared him out this time. But we'll see how this plays out as time goes on. And if he gets in again, we'll just see if he can keep clearing him out. It's very, very tiring. If Roberto needs to find a way to get under the legs. And you can see now Kaynan's hip is turned, but look how offset his head is. So he can't be lifted over to his right. You can't have your head overhead if your hip is turned, but as soon as the hip gets square, there he's almost mounted. When your hip gets square, you can start bringing your head overhead. You can start to work to come down tighter. Roberto can't really find any way to invert because he's killing the right side off with that butterfly hook, and basically making Roberto do the splits essentially, so he can either keep the leg wide and then shove it in to smash, but like Roberto is not able to do any sort of inversion to create moves to the back.
Kind of just trying to smash that guard of Roberto. You know, as we mentioned, it's got a wear and tear on that core. But Roberto is, man, never underestimate this kid.
No, you cannot. You're right about that. He's just he can create things out of nowhere, and he's very fast. He's very, very talented. There's the underhook now. The right hand's trying to punch through for kind of look. See that right hand working. Roberto trying to keep him away. He's going to spin out. He's trying to keep some space, but you'll see him start messing with the knee. Most likely, will kind of is messing with that knee that's in his way, and he can push it down, push it over, or he can go through it. And the knee, even if the knee is wide, he can go through that with underhooks. And you can see him dominating that right leg and picking it up. Trying to hip switch by Roberto, trying to get movement going. See it kind of picking that foot up. That's to stop the inversion. When you pick the foot up, it changes the angle of the leg, and then it just you can't get your leg back under there. If you roll over all the way inverted, you can, but he's not letting that happen. Now he's in a body lock.
Yeah, this is potentially the beginning of the end here. Once he's got that body lock wrap there, Roberto's got a nice little underhook on the right side. That's
good actually for Roberto. It's hard to body lock. Now, I mean, Kaynan, I've seen him do it with double overs like this. Can be a difficult thing because it's hard to get around the knees when they're up like this. And this is what Roberto needs. He needs to lock his closed guard. He's really good at getting from the back with underhooks from closed guard. Let's see if he can get his right leg out. That's one of his strongest positions, I feel like. Close guard, double underhooks, and he can take the back.
See Andre Galvão in the corner of Kaynan Duarte. He's a long-time coach and training partner.
Kaynan's in good shape. He can squeeze the elbows down a little. He can even pummel back through and score an underhook with the right side and then have an arm in body lock. But because the way he's holding Roberto's sort of suspended off of Kaynan, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for him to get to the back. But I don't believe that Kaynan should stay here either. He's going to, Roberto had to let go. There's that push, right? Push down, went to a knee cut.
Switches to the opposite side there. Roberto trying to get a little elevation here. Make some space with Kaynan. Man, it's just like every time Roberto gets some space and elevation, Kaynan just shuts it down and goes to the opposite side.
It's right back into this position, which He's actually got a...
So this is interesting. This is where Roberto has a window of opportunity for the first time in the match. He's got the leg, but he's got that entanglement. Could have access to the back, made a little space, but Kaynan's going right back to that position to shut him down.
There's the punching there. That's a good position for Kaynan. He's going to pass for sure.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's it. Mounting, and the arm has already walked halfway up for Katagatami now.
Oh, he's got that right arm underhook.
Yeah,
he's going to crawl that arm up above his head, and he's going to look to get that Katagatami or head and arm choke. But man, they're so slippery at this point. I could see Roberto getting out of that potentially.
Actually, he must like the other side better because he let that go.
Now I'm gonna call it here. Kaynan's been showing this mounted triangle sequence, and with the position that he has that arm entangled, Sean, you think we could see that happen?
Oh, you could absolutely see any sort of high S-mount guard from the Katagatami. You have the arm way up. Katagatami just happens to be one of the safest techniques from here because even if the person counters, you're really still in good position. You get gift wrap off of it. You just re-walk the arm up. It's when you move into the S-mount, you do risk your opponent getting out. You've now relinquished a lot of the power of the pin that you have right here, that he has right here. So if he just holds this position, I think he could be right.
See Murilo Santana in the corner of Roberto Jimenez. Roberto went over the Unity Jiu-Jitsu to train for this match with those monsters at Unity. Sebastian Rodriguez, you know, under the watchful eye of Murilo Santana, tons of other top talent, leg lock master Junio Ocasio, who's been on Who's Number One. Just a stacked training room there in New York.
Yeah, you could be right. I mean, Kaynan could straighten the left arm, post the hand over the head, and straighten his left arm. Push on the floor, straighten that, and it pushes the elbow much closer to the head, and he can catch it. He can catch that Katagatami and kind of pass off to his cheek. Throws out. And he's going to get out. Good job. Good job bridging out of that mount.
The thing with Roberto is there's no quit.
No.
And he can, as we talked about this earlier, he can get to the back in a split second. He just needs that window. But Kaynan has shut down every window of opportunity for Roberto today. All right, here we go, back to the standing position here.
He's gonna try his luck on the feet now, I think. Again, you can get singles to back takes, duck unders, arm drags, side buys. Any type of underhook could give him access to the back. Kaynan usually is more calculated in his wrestling, single legs, etc.
A single leg attempted by Roberto, trying to finish it. Guillotine there for a sec. Post on Roberto's head to stand up.
Yeah, 1 minute. I like that shot by Roberto. Nice little shot there.
And he got kind of down.
He did. And he got out of the guillotine, which means that, you know, he probably could do it again. Maybe the grip was a little slow, whatnot, but kind of does have a nasty arm and guillotine.
Yeah. Here Roberto's corner saying he's getting tired, and Roberto's trying to put up the pace here, but he's got 56 seconds. Man, if he could pull this off, this would be one of the biggest moments, not only in his career, but in WNO history.
Yeah. Well, it's all, Roberto he's the one who's going to have to go here. I mean, it's his match to try to win or lose. It's
trying to swat that single leg finish there.
Yeah.
But trying to swat Kaynan down is very, very tough.
And Kaynan uses the same tactic. He uses the same technique, so it's 20 seconds.
Kaynan just got a penalty. Played it safe here. Roberto with another single leg, trying to finish strong. Gets in the back of Kaynan Duarte. Roberto Jimenez takes Kaynan down, and he's trying to finish this. He's got 2 seconds, and that is it.
And you saw a little glimpse of...
Yes, we saw a glimpse of what could have been.
Yeah, Kaynan.
Great job by Roberto Jimenez.
Yes.
In the closing minute of the match, you know, Kaynan dominated the majority of that match, but I think, you know, Roberto, if he had the chance to pull the trigger on that earlier on, I wonder how different this match could have been. Let's take a look at the replay for tonight. You see the Natural Rebel coming through the smoke here. You see Kaynan just stalking his opponent here, shutting down his guard. Just doing a great job of just being that brick wall and not giving Roberto an opening or an inch. Changing directions, just attacking that core at all costs. And you saw an earlier attempt, you know, leg attempt, entanglement, almost to the back there for a split second, but Kaynan was able to eventually escape, progress to mount for a good portion of the match where he was very dominant. Roberto was able to escape. Nice, beautiful escape. You got to give Roberto credit there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially against Kaynan. Not many people could say they've done that. Closing minutes of the match, Roberto came out aggressive and almost got to the back of Kaynan Duarte. Kaynan spun out and went for that arm and guillotine in the end. But very tough match by both competitors.
Yeah. Great technical match.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to pass it over to our official for the official announcement and winner here in this main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is your winner by decision. Out of the red corner, Kaynan Duarte.
And Kaynan Duarte is your winner, the reigning ADCC gold medalist, wins here in the main event.